So good morning, everybody. We'd like to acknowledge the Kaurna people and Uncle Lewis for your time this morning. Today we've been asked to put a spotlight on the nexus of social enterprise and arts practice, because young people are determining their own agenda, arts expression, organisational structures, alternative funding. But I'm going to digress a bit because, just like Fraser said, mental health is as an increasing component of our young people in our nation. So Mission Australia survey, their annual survey, the percentage of young people indicating mental health as a top national concern had doubled in the last 6 years. It was identified that young people needed the skills to cope with stress, support in times of need during mental health and drug and alcohol awareness programs, and access to these services. 1 in 4 young people experienced unfair treatment or discrimination in the past year, and 22.1% was because of their age. I'm sure that we all know Article 12 of the UN Rights of the Child, where children have the right to say what they think should happen when adults are making decisions that affect them, and their opinions are taken into account. So when the defunding of the sector happened, so did our social infrastructure for our creative pathways with the nation's young people. They have no place to go. So at this time, we all have a responsibility to take action. We need to open the door to the new ideas, the new ways of thinking, help them unlock the gate for them to step forward. Try out their new ideas. Try, and then they can fail, try, and then they will succeed. You don't think about the reason, you might think that at this point, I can't. There's no money. The board won't go for it. It's risky, I get it. But think about the reasons why you can't. I have heard a billion of them. Think about what happens if you don't, rather. What happens if you don't encourage these new ideas? My favourite quote by Marianne Williamson: "The greatest fear is that we are not inadequate. It's that we are more powerful beyond measure." It's about collaboration, not divide and conquer mentality between children, young people and adults. But I know I'm speaking amongst friends here. I've had conversations with organisations that don't actually include young people at all in their processes, and they don't want to be pigeonholed into the sector. But what is what is our civic responsibility to the social injustice that children and young people have at the moment? So as soon as they are born, they step foot into the world, they are lower class citizens. How about we take the notion of them being our teachers and how we can navigate this journey journey in our world? Placing them in the power seat and giving them the tools and knowledge to succeed will surely bring about these new forms of doing and new ways of thinking. But I'm going to come back to the statement now. So yes, this session is about social enterprise, which Google tells me is applying commercial strategies and maximising improvement in human and environmental well-being. And I've been told that that's what I do. All I wanted to do is have a job in my hometown of Cairns. There was no opportunities for me, so I just went out and created my own youth theatre. So now I'm going to spin the spotlight around in our sector, and I'm going to ask you to stop saying I can't, and let's do. Let's collaborate, empower our nation's young people with the sharing of the knowledge of how we do, so together we can become a sector that is powerful beyond measure. So I'd like to welcome up Sarah. Woohoo!
That was amazing. Hi, I'm Sarah, and I would also like to pay my respects to the Kaurna people, and also to Kira, because you're awesome. That was amazing. I'm still learning how to best answer the question that I've actually gotten so much over the last 3 days at ATF. So Sarah, what do you do? And I tend to change it depending on who I'm talking to. So with the people in the room, I will just say that I'm Sarah, I'm a community development artist, I work primarily in theatre, and I make projects with young people for all audiences. I have created and sold businesses. I've started arts not-for-profits that are running in multiple countries and still running today. I run a theatre company, developed arts programs, or before I knew what OZCO was, before I knew what a youth theatre sector was, before I knew what Carclew was, or etc. And I've done a lot too, and everything that I've done, I'm a bit too embarrassed to tell you how many grants I've actually received for all the stuff I've done, because it's not a lot. So, when I was asked to speak here today, instantly imposter syndrome kicked in, and I was like, why? Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm an artist? Is it because I'm culturally diverse? Is it because I'm young? Or is it because I haven't done enough? I'm currently working on a project called Arts Front Under 30 with Feral Arts, and it grew out of a frustration of being a young person in the arts industry. There was a big gathering last year called Arts Front 2030, and on the last day, Norm was like, how did you find it? And I was like, to be honest, I found it really difficult. I found it really difficult to talk in the discussions, and I found it really difficult that young people's ideas weren't being taken seriously. So we're going to be working across all other, connecting hopefully with everyone here today, and talking about how we can better include youth participation in the youth art sector and the whole art sector as well. We're also going to be having a national gathering next year with 18 to 30-year-olds specifically, so that they can connect and also understand their worth in the arts industry. There are many young people who are frustrated or isolated and they're not included. They weren't at ATF, and they're doing their own thing, and they're making really amazing work, really great companies. I do think though, if we look at social enterprise, it's really important that we have an understanding of what we have to continue to put pressure on the government to fund. We can't all just be going for corporate partnerships and being sustainable. I think it's really important that we continue to really pressure the government that there are some things that the government has to fund. It's not an option. Health companies aren't doing it, education places aren't doing it, and we shouldn't do it either. For example, I'll just say a friend of mine, but it was actually me. I'll just be honest here. I took corporate funding from a mining company, an energy company, for an arts project, and I felt kind of really forced to do it. And I thought I wouldn't have to frickin' take in this money if the government wasn't subsidising the mining industry so much and they were funding the arts industry more. So that's just one example. Thank you. So, I'm standing today as a trailblazer, only because I've had the support of organisations like Country Arts SA, who gave me my first job in the arts industry, ATYP, Riverland Youth Theatre, Expressway Arts, Alicia from Expressway Arts, Carclew funded, and everyone else who has helped me along the way. It's a long list of people, and OZCO recently with the Future Leaders program. So Lee and I, how much time do we have?
Just about done, Sarah.
Well then Lee and I, in our discussion today, we're going to do a really exciting activity that we were going to do if we had time here. But what can we say to end, Lee? Oh no, we didn't plan this. Young people.
We were going to do a very creative visualization. Should we just...
Well, I guess we can just put forward, are we willing to actually change the youth sector to really incorporate young people's voices and really incorporate their ideas, or are we just going to keep going the way we're going? Question to you guys.